If you're a Christian husband and your wife just found out about your porn, as you can imagine, there's nothing you can say that will yield a happy outcome. But what you can do is set the groundwork for your own healing and for the best shot at the marriage being restored. So, assuming that you are repentant, that you are willing to do whatever it takes to eradicate your life from lust, you want to be fully free, not just no more porn, but like no more lust overall, and you're wanting to rebuild your marriage, I would recommend you say something like this: I need help. I'm trapped. I've been trapped for fill in the blank, however long, and have been trying to get free, but I don't know how. And I don't understand why I do what I do, or I would tell you. Now, quick pause. This first line shows humility. It shows what I assume is going to be true, which is you don't know why you do what you do. And it communicates that you're trapped, which if you have actually been trying to find freedom, even if just with your own willpower, it is accurate. Obviously, with this and with any of the other lines, don't say anything that's not true. But my goal is to shape how you think about this, how you approach this, and therefore how you communicate this. So start with humility. Then we get into a high-level overview to help her get a feel for what she's dealing with. You could say something like, the high-level overview is that I have engaged in porn and masturbation for X amount of time. I've also become emotionally connected with a woman from work, and there's been no physical or sexual relationship. So that kind of categorically answers a number of the questions. Now, to clarify, she will probably doubt everything that you say if there's been deception and lying along the way, but answer honestly anyway. Then we get to the part about what are you going to do about it. You can say, for example, I am committing right now to meeting with a certified sexual addiction therapist within 2 weeks to begin unpacking all of this so I can give you the full scope, the full picture that you, I assume, want. My concern with going into detail between now and then is that I'll likely forget stuff, which will then just reopen the wound, and I don't know how much detail is helpful versus unnecessarily painful. So I would love for us to work through a professional to help us navigate this. So this part can be really hard to walk through because your wife will likely feel completely blindsided, completely confused, and eagerly want answers. And you're the last person in the world that she wants to hear, I'm not willing to share this. Because up until this point, you've been lying and deceiving, assumedly. But when you give a dedicated timeline and you say that you're going to get professional help, that can help put her mind at ease that the details that she is wanting is coming. You're just trying to go about it the right way. And for what it's worth, I very much believe everything that I have laid out here, including going through a full disclosure with a professional counselor. I have seen it go awry far too many times where guys answer all of their wives' questions and it ends up doing what feels like irreversible damage. On the contrary, typically when you go through a CSAT, they understand what level is helpful versus unnecessarily painful. They're an unbiased third party, and so they're not going to prevent your wife from knowing things that she really needs to know. They can provide counsel in this difficult time. Moving on, you can say, I will do everything I can to get free of this and to protect and rebuild our marriage. Now, previously I've shared that oftentimes our wives will hold to a much more strict definition of sobriety and freedom than we do naturally, especially if we've been struggling for an extended period of time. Oftentimes what I find is wives will hold to, for example, what Jesus talks about in the Sermon on the Mount as the standard of if you look at a woman and lust after her, you've committed adultery in her heart. And so anything on that level needs to be confessed in her mind, whereas you may view it as, well, anything that's not literally porn, like on a porn website, is kind of fine. This kept my wife and I stuck for years. You must develop a common definition of sobriety. And this isn't just about healing your marriage. This is also about becoming sanctified before God. And so I believe the only standard is radical honesty, is confessing everything. You can then continue on saying, I am so sorry that I didn't have the courage to seek help sooner and that I've been lying to you. I don't expect you to believe me now, but I hope I can become a radically different man, one who is trustworthy, has integrity, and loves you the way you deserve. Then, the most important part in all of this, follow through. Under promise, over deliver. Dedicate tremendous time toward finding freedom, finding healing, and helping your wife to process through all of this as well.